What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for stopping by this channel and supporting me and supporting what I'm doing here. I really do appreciate it. Real quick, before we get into the content of today, if you didn't mind hitting a like on the video, possibly subscribe to the channel if you're new here. If you're new here, thank you very much for stopping by. I do tips and tricks and videos like this all the time. I kind of balance out actually physically showing stuff with some kart theorem, just because, you know, there's only so many things you can do to a kart or show, you know, doing to the kart in one way or another, and I don't want to, you know, double up and be making something I already did and be like, hey, bonehead, you already did that, you know. We don't want any of that. So when I balance in some of this kart theorem, as I like to call it, just to get your brain moving and, you know, think about a subject that maybe you haven't thought of before. Okay, what are we talking about today? To prep or not to prep? That is the question. I was saying, William Shakespeare just popped about, you know, when I said, to prep or not to prep? That is the question. It sounded like a kind of catchy title. So basically what happened here is I write an article for American Muscle Kart that is all things open kart related, Run What You Brung, UAS, that type of racing. Mark Bergfeld is the owner of that, and American Muscle Kart, they put out 4 issues a year quarterly, and I put in a tech article, or, you know, something like today. It's not really tech so much as theory of the two sides of things, of the tires don't need prep, and then the people who prep tires. Now, you know, the reason why I wanted to make this video was that I'm not the greatest at writing articles. You know, I did okay in English, I guess, but trying to get everything that I thought of into Word. I knew I was missing stuff. You know, there's only so many ways I can kind of put it onto paper, if you will, to whereas I can talk about it a little more naturally. This comes about a little easier for me because, well, I like to talk. So I thought I'd make a video about it, and we could kind of balance out the idea of no prep on tires and what that brings to karting, and then prep tires and, you know, kind of the pros and cons of that as well, and kind of see if we can't, you know, get them together. And I don't know, I see both sides, so I wanted to convey to you, and maybe you have a different idea. You could put that down in the comments if you have, you know, a thought on this video or a different perspective to look at it. But I thought it might be tickle your brain cells a little bit here. All right, first let's talk no prep. There are a lot of people out there that I've seen that are, you know, they're pretty much anti-prep. And while I do use prep, I don't disagree with the general premise of the no prep idea. You know, I don't know that they believe that, you know, prep is cheating. Maybe they do. Maybe they think it's cheating, but more so that they like the grassroots aspect. It takes that element out, and in theory, it puts the wheel in the driver's hands, in the setup man's hands, or scaling and such. So, you know, it's just, you know, scuff tires, clean tires, and go out and race. No, adding no chemicals whatsoever in order to make them, you know, fire off quicker or bring them in longer or change it around or anything like that. It's just, it is kart and tire, and that is it. While, you know, it's noble to have that theory that it's just you in the chassis. I've said it in a video before, extremely hard to police on a smaller scale. Bigger races, you know, state series, what have you, they're going to have the ability, they're going to have sniffers or this or that, maybe a little more money behind them to where they're going to be able to tell if you've prepped tires, or if you go to that, you know, that event and you get the tires there, you mount the tires, you race those tires, okay. But for your regular Saturday night races, I know I've discussed something along the lines of this before. It's very hard for a local track, say AMS, for instance, Allegheny Motor Speed or Memorial Speedway, I'm sorry. for them to sample tires. Now, you can sample tires. You can take a little chunk out of it. You can send it into a lab. Has it been prepped? Then you DQ that person and gets out. Well, that's expensive. And then you're going to have to either A, charge that person or take it on the head. And, this is just something that, are people willing to risk winning races, running good in points while they're prepping tires, trying to be secretive to it? This is asking a lot of smaller tracks to have a no prep class. You can go on the honor system, which is hopefully what most people would do. If you're participating in a no prep class, please don't cheat. What is a win worth if you're going to cheat? I don't think that's right. Hopefully you wouldn't do that. If you enter in a no prep class, they say, hey, all these other classes are do what you want, but this is a no prep class. Don't touch them. We will test. There's the thought or the fear of getting tested, of getting your tire sampled and it sent in, and then they ban you from the track or whatever needs to be done. There's that. It's just extremely hard to police. You could do it, but I think the honor system, I want to believe that there's still good people out there that would honor that. No prep is no prep. Now, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, this is kind of where I couldn't go in the article because I was going to be fairly long-winded. You have a track series or whatever, a race series to where it is no prep. No prep is allowed. You are only on tires. Now, if everybody's going to abide by that and they aren't prepping tires, what they are going to do is start to explore different avenues of kart setup, which is not exactly going to cost less money. So you're going to invest in a spring rate tester. How basically for how squishy the sidewall of a tire is and what kind of pressure that is. So you're going to want either the same or maybe you're going to start changing. Hey, I'm not getting as much spring off the corner. You're going to go to a softer sidewall on your right rear to get that to jump out of the corner. There's something that people really don't look into. You're going to start to play with how wide your rims are. So if you take your 10-inch rim, the tire is out here. Well, if you shorten that up to 9-inch, it's going to square up. And it's going to create more rollover on that tire. It's going to affect the chassis and how it handles around the corner. They're just you're going to obviously there's going to be cut tires as well unless you have some sort of rule on tread depth that you're going to have to police. Again, there's there are different avenues of which to get more out of tires that I don't think you can just say just up front, like no prep class, and then you accept it as that. Well, the fast teams not only are going to spend a ton of time in the garage figuring out staggers, spring rates on their tires, this and that, they're going to find speed regardless. So is it really costing less money in order, in applying this no prep thing? Like, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing at all. I think that it's, your fast teams are going to be fast. If you look at NASCAR, they came out with the next gen car or whatever it's called, the latest generation last year, and now you're seeing the cream rise to the top. The fast teams, the platform is the same, but somehow, some way, those teams are finding those little intricate little things to find speed. So you may even the playing field for a little bit until people start to figure out exactly what to do with tires, regardless of prep or not. With no prep, they're going to find out what spring rates work better, what we're in with. And maybe that's what you want. Maybe that is you just want the kart and the tire, and then you're allowed to do what you will to find speed there. But I'm telling you that the teams, the smart people, the people who have been doing it a long time, they're going to find out exactly what to do to those no prep tires to find even more speed than you thought was possible just by saying, hey, no prep. This is even Steven. They're going to find speed, no doubt. Okay, on the prep side, which is where I am, the basic thing is, if you're prepping, I'm prepping. I'm not leaving speed on the table for anything. Would I like to be no prep? Would I like to just, grind my tires or whatever, clean my tires, surface the tires, and go out there and race and do everything I kind of said in the last segment? Sure, I think that's amazing. But prep tires are often faster tires because I'll tell you a little story. I guess it's a story. I don't know. It's something my friend told me that he was, that this conversation had happened. So Mike Burris and Kurt Burris of Burris Tires, they were having a discussion. Now, Mike is a no prep guy. He wants setup. He thinks that setup over the proper tire is faster than a prep tire. Now, Kurt, he wasn't disagreeing. I don't think he was disagreeing that prep tires are faster, but his point was that with Burris tires, you have 11s, you have 22s, you have 33s, there once was 44s, and you have 55s. So you have 5 different compounds. I think that's amazing. You know, we're including 44s. Those really aren't a thing anymore. But that's amazing. 5 different compounds, 5 different harnesses that you could, you know, play with on your kart for whatever surface you're on. What Kurt's point was that with prepping, now that you've taken those 5 tires, if we're just taking Burris for example, you've turned this into infinite. You have infinite different compounds when you're playing with prep. When you roll internal, how many wipes do you do external? How soft, how hard are you letting those tires, you know, get? You have the ability to change the molecular chemistry of that tire to behave differently than it was once intended. So that's why I said in the beginning that most times, not all time, because straight up tires have beaten prep tires before. I've seen it. I've been in races with it. It does happen. But most times a prep tire has a better chance of doing something that the regular rubber was never intended to do. Maybe it comes on faster, maybe it comes on later, maybe it's a tire or a prep combination that fires off. Say it's a bunch of cautions, but it doesn't matter because that chemical inside the tire, inside the tread, is going to fire off every single time and bring you max speed every single time. Now, the cons to prepping, the expense of it. But one could argue that if you had a no prep class, that you would have even more tires because you're going to want even more variants of, you know, like I said before, the spring rates, the heights, the this and that, different staggers, you know, getting every bit of the no prep tire to do what you wanted to do, to whereas now you're going to have a wall of tires that are prepped all differently for different circumstances. Now, I don't think you have to have a ton of different, you know, sets of tires, but I have quite a few, and they are all pretty much prepped differently, with the exception of some internal prep. I have a tendency to internal prep similar, a bunch of different sets, and then just treat the exterior a little different for, you know, whatever the track and I'm going to is going to be. Now, I do love prepping tires. I think it is an art form. And, you know, like I said before, if somebody else is doing it, I want to learn it. I want to learn how to make those things faster, what exactly to do to them to make them faster so I'm not left behind. You know, I want to be up with the elite guys. And if the elite guys are prepping tires, I'm going to take that time and learn it. And you know, it's just another component in this little thing. You know, people are, oh, they're little go-karts. It's like, really? Little go-karts. The geometry alone would blow your mind of what it takes to make one of these things go around. And then you have people like me that add way too much horsepower to the thing. Like an absurd amount of horsepower to a go-kart. And then everything you thought you knew about tires, throw that out because you just abuse the crap out of them with gobs of horsepower, trying to break loose, trying to spin and everything like that. I think maybe the attitude towards prepping comes a lot from, I'll say the slower classes only because I run UAS. It's really not the case. Predators and clones are pretty fast. But what you have is a tire game. So 2006, the very first, we'll call it the Grand Nationals. It wasn't called that. It was like a a north meets south type of national in Laura, South Carolina. It was like somebody's backyard, best I recall. It was a track, don't get me wrong, but it was really a pretty nice setup, the first southern track I had ever been to. But the owner was walking around, and I happened to run into him. Hey, thank you very much for having us down, being a Yankee, coming down to South Carolina for the first time. And he says, you can have all the horsepower you want, but unless you don't have those 4 black things under you, you're going backwards. He's very, very, very right. I think it's more so on the clone side of things. We'll just use clone as an explanation, that tires are, that's probably the argument from the no prep people, is that tires are it. Your setup, be within the ballpark, but if you get the tires right, you're going to win. You're going to run up front. That is the biggest determining factor, that those things hitting the ground, which kind of should be, are what separates you. Now, there's a point to where you're just gluing yourself to the surface, and then it's it's just follow the leader type of racing, and then bump somebody out of the way, this and that. Maybe that's why I do what I do. That's why I run UAS, because it's not follow the leader. People get out of shape frequently. You have to be on your toes. They will break free. They will get set sideways. They will do everything, because we're overpowering the tires. No matter what we do to the tires, we can break free. We can break them free. We can get them sideways and all that. There's something about, I did want to mention this. I forgot to in the first one. The treads and tear-offs crew. God, I love those guys. Treads and tear-offs, let's get at. There is something to that. And even with lower horsepower, KT100s, close, it doesn't matter. Treads and tear-offs, that there's a looser track, that where you can slide job, that you can paste your buddy with roost. I like that concept. We kind of do that without the roost, I guess, with the slide jobs and everything we can do in UAS. I don't know. I just thought I would make a video and talk about this. It's not that I'm pro, prep and anti no prep. I can see both sides. I thought this would be a fun topic to kind of throw out to you guys. Holy smokes! At the end of videos, I get a little long-winded, and then I'm sorry. Okay. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I know that. I've read some people that are very, hardcore no prep, and they mean business. They do not want prep in it. They think it's cheating. They think it has ruined everything karting. Tires has ruined everything karting, to whereas I don't fall on that side. I'm all for it. I'm all for a no prep class. I'm all for, somebody try and put together a series that says no prep. Now, policing it again, it's going to be a little tougher than I think you think it might be, rather than it's easier said than done. Just no prep. Everybody, no prep. No, we're not going to run prep here. Well, good luck stopping people that want to win from winning. There are ways around it. You see it in the highest levels of motorsports down to the lowest level of motorsports, which, arguably could be kart racing. People will find a way. So I just thought I'd throw this out to you guys. I thought it was funny, the to prep or not to prep? That is the question. I thought that just that statement was kind of fun, and maybe you guys would enjoy this video. So, all right, I guess I'm out of here. Hopefully a new Trek Tech series on Thursday. I'm doing pretty good with that. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next week. Later.